since I just made a whole video hating on a sports anime, Blue Lock, let's change it up a bit by talking about how much better Haikyuu is compared to Blue Lock. Okay, I'm kidding. I'm not about the other part, but you know what? Never mind. Let's talk about an anime that I have nothing but positive things to say. Haikyuu. This show is just actually so good. Before watching, I knew it was gonna be good, but Haikyuu loomed past my expectation and some, to the point of it becoming one of my favorite anime I've watched. Haikyuu just does a lot of things better than a lot of other anime does. Blue Lock. First thing I wanna say is this show's score is actually perfect. I do know that Haikyuu has the same composer as My Hero Academia, Yuki Hayashi, and it just fit. It makes you feel like you're saving the world by just playing volleyball, or that the world would end if you don't score the next point. And that's why having a good soundtrack is so important. It makes, in this case, they're not fight scenes. Those exchanges feel like you're fighting for your life or the world, even though you aren't. And if the OST can draw out those emotions, you know that OST is special. And obviously, the OST can only thrive if the setup to draw out emotion is also good. Like for example, this last point against Shiratorizawa, the setup is already done. Karasuno and Shiratorizawa have been going back and forth in a grueling match. Now it's just up to the visuals and the score to elevate this final point to the very peak of the mountain. Truly majestic usage of animation and music. Haikyuu also does the best out of any other sports anime in action scenes. The only comparable one is Kuroko's basketball for me. I mean, just look at this scene, just beautifully animated. And not just that, again, this whole scene is special, but not just because of the animation, it's also because of the dialogue and the setup they did to lead up in this moment. And speaking of dialogue, this show has some fantastic dialogue. So many quotables like Bayachi,
このプライド絶対に覚えておけよ
by Oikawa,
コンクリート出身日向翔陽です。あなたをぶっ倒して全国へ行きます。
by Hinata,
他を向くんじゃねえバレーは常に上を向くスポーツだ
by Coach Ukai. This one hits different, especially knowing that this is the last line he recorded before sadly passing away. R.I.P. Tanaka Kazunari.
もしもその瞬間が来たら、それがお前がバレーにはまる瞬間だ。
by Bokoto. Especially knowing what comes from this line, and obviously Oikawa's
才能は開花させるものセンスは磨くもの
and there's so many other lines that I love, but I can't list them all. Haikyuu also has the biggest cast of characters that I love. I even like more characters in this show than Attack on Titan, my GOAT. And that's ridiculous. Like, not all of them are written masterfully, but they don't need to be. As long as you're a likable character and you have a goal or point in the story, it's very easy for me to love that character. And I feel like all the characters in Haikyuu has that. And there's so many of them that I will do a separate video ranking all the characters in Haikyuu. For now, I'll say my top 5 characters in Haikyuu. Hinata is a fitting and just a really good MC overall. Seeing both his character growth and the development of the way he plays volleyball is second to none. Add on his over-the-top personality and his humor, and you have a recipe for success. I also think Hinata has the best personality and playstyle growth we see in any sports anime MC. The only one that can compete is probably Sakuragi, and that's not even taking into account his rivalry with Kageyama. A really good way of describing Hinata is that he's kind of a mix of Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and Inosuke all into one. He has Tanjiro's generosity and drive to be better. He has Zenitsu's over-the-top personality and overall ridiculousness, and he has Inosuke's competitiveness and buffoonery. So yeah, Hinata's all 3 in 1, and that's why he's my favorite. Next, we have the show's best villain, I say villain loosely because this show doesn't have any villain. It's Oikawa. I personally think Oikawa is the best written character in Haikyuu, a fantastic teammate and leader, and Oikawa embodies the praise hard work pays off, but also has a beautiful and sad story of hard work does get you far, but it's not everything. Sometimes, no matter how hard you work, you can't reach the goal you've been working so hard on. And if someone with a talent and works hard comes along, they will inevitably overtake you. Plus, Oikawa also has an amazing personality with a really competitive spirit. Suki is a really relatable character, always downplaying things to make it seem like he doesn't care and is his own self-critic. His relationship with Yamaguchi is also really cute. Seeing Suki's progression of originally loving volleyball to falling out of love with it because of his brother to having that moment again where he reignites his love for volleyball was truly something special.
たかがブロック1本、たかが25点中の1点、たかが部活。もしもその瞬間が来たら、俺がお前がバレエにハマる瞬間だ。
And plus, I've always loved those type of character that says something to get a rise or a reaction of someone. Those type of people that loves to troll. And Suki is exactly that. And maybe me and Suki just have a connection because I'm kind of like that with my friends. The guardian deity of Karasuno, Nishinoya, is funny, the best teammate, the best libero, the best mood lifter, and most importantly, the clutchest player in the show. I don't know how many times he single-handedly saved Karasuno from losing. He's also kind of crazy, but we love him for it. And never forget,
Rolling Thunder! Rolling Thunder!
Kuro is the best leader in Haikyuu. He's also the reason why Kenma is playing volleyball. Kuro and Kenma's relationship is the best in this show, a perfect example of what a childhood friendship should look like. Kuro also helped develop Suki's character, so that's two major character plot he helped make. Kuro's just out here helping people, and what solidified his spot for me is his scene with Kenma in the movie. Dude is just an overall likable dude, and it also kind of helped that he has Gojo's voice actor, but that's just me though. So those are my top 5 favorite character in Haikyuu. And one last thing, this show also has a lot of beautiful message sprinkled in a lot of the episodes, like how to properly accept defeat and the importance of being able to bounce back in said defeat was all beautifully done. And there's so much more beautiful messages in this show, which just makes the whole show so much better. So like I said, this show is just fucking good. If I have any qualms about Haikyuu, is that it's too short. Like knowing that the next movie will be the end of Haikyuu sucks, because I want to see what happens in Hinata and Kageyama in their second year and all the other characters. Like this show is so good and has so many amazing characters that it sucks that it's this short. But I guess being too short isn't the worst problem you could have. You could be like other sports anime out there. Blue Lock, huh? With that being said, that's it for me. If you agree with what I had to say, like the video. And if you disagree, feel free to comment down below why. And while you're down there, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. And once again, it's just my phantom thoughts.